15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market.
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company? It doesn't make me feel any better.
It's a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real.
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
If that snippet didn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. Because what you just watched is a United States senator catching a tech CEO in what looks like a straight-up lie live on camera in front of Congress. And the CEO is sitting there fumbling through talking points being fed to him by some lawyer sitting behind him like he's getting answers whispered in an exam he didn't study for. Now, I'm not someone who throws around political praise easily. But Senator Josh Hawley came prepared. He didn't come to grandstand. He came with receipts. He had the privacy policy printed out. He had the Wall Street Journal article in his hand. He had the numbers. And he used all of it. We are talking about your DNA. Your most personal, most irreplaceable data. And this company has been telling you for years, don't worry, you're in control. We'll never sell it without your consent. And now, they're selling the whole company to Big Pharma, with your genetic data inside it. And according to their own privacy policy, they're not even really deleting it when you ask them to. So before we watch the full video, if you care about your privacy, if you care about your data, hit that like button right now because this conversation needs to be heard. Subscribe if you're new. And let's get into it. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sales Savage, if I could just start with you. So how many customers do you have approximately?
Between 14 and 15 million customers.
Between 14 and 15 million. I think you told Senator Britt just a minute ago that a goodly number of those are minors. Is that correct?
What I said was I don't have the number of customers.
You have the genetic data of a good many minors. Is that correct?
We have genetic data for a particular number of minors, and I will be happy to provide.
People under the age of 18, is that correct?
That is how I'm defining a minor.
So they give your customers, I just want to make sure I understand your business model. Your customers give you their genetic information for you to run various tests on, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And I mean, that's pretty sensitive stuff, isn't it? Somebody's genetic information, is there anything more personal than that?
I would agree with you, Senator, that genetic data is sensitive information.
And so now you're just going to sell all of it? 15 million people, bunches of kids, maybe millions. It's just going to be sold in the open market?
As Senator, the good news, as I mentioned, is that the two bidders or buyers for the company, one is Regeneron, which is
That's the big pharma company? It doesn't make me feel any better.
It's a large pharmaceutical company.
All right, so you're gonna take 15 million Americans' genetic information and you're gonna sell it to somebody, and your message to us is today, trust us, it'll be fine. Maybe it's a big pharma company. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe they'll treat it right. I thought your privacy code, your privacy commitment said that consumers had a right not to have their information shared with anybody else without their consent. I mean, I've got your privacy statement right here. It says that without their consent, you can't share their information. You're about to sell it.
Senator, that consent is, essentially for,
not real.
Not share for research purposes, and we are not selling it for research purposes.
So when you tell the consumer, give us your personal information and we'll take money from you, and we won't give it to anybody without your consent, it's not real. It just means, maybe kind of depends on the day.
Senator, I will say that our customers' data is their own. They have the right at all times to access that information. They can edit it.
Well, sure they can, but
data.
you're about to sell it to who knows who. They can't control it. You said to Senator Moody that consumers have complete control of their data. Complete. How can they have complete control if you're about to sell it without their consent?
Senator, they can delete that data anytime up until the sale and after.
Oh, okay. They can delete the data. Have you fixed the ability of customers to go on your website and delete it? Because right after you announced your sale, your deletion page went down. I hold in my hand here an article from the Wall Street Journal. 23andMe site goes down as customers struggle to delete their data. Can they even get onto your site to delete their data?
They can, Senator. And
You fixed this?
that was an issue that, yes, we fixed immediately after.
It's up and running now? Customers can go on?
Customers can go on and they can delete their data.
What happens when
less
they
than
go onto
5
your
minutes.
site to delete their data?
When a customer logs into their account at 23andMe, they go to their settings page, and there's a section there where just click delete my data. It confirms that they want to delete their data, and it's deleted automatically.
Is that true? Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Okay.
When they go onto your page, they get an opportunity. It says permanently delete the data. So they click the button that says permanently delete the data, and then they get a notification that says your account is no longer accessible. How do they know if they can't access their account anymore? How do they know their data's been deleted?
Because we send them a notification that their information has been deleted.
You send it once, and how long does that take?
Our policies state that, we will delete their data within 30 days, and in most cases, it is automatic and happens much quickly.
And when you delete it, it's deleted. It's gone forever.
All the genetic data is deleted forever, and yes.
Really? Because that's not what your privacy statement says in the fine print. Let's read it. What your statement says is, we retain personal information for as long as necessary to provide the services and fill the transactions you have requested, to comply with our legal obligations, resolve disputes, enforce agreements, et cetera, And then it goes on, 23andMe and or our contracted genotyping laboratory will retain your genetic information even if you choose to delete your account.
Senator, 23andMe, it does not retain any genetic information regarding the consumer once they delete their account. We do.
It says right here that you will retain genetic information, including date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account. This is your privacy policy. I'm just quoting from it.
Senator, to the best of my knowledge, we do not maintain any genetic information.
It says even if you choose to delete your account, we will retain your genetic information, date of birth and sex, even if you choose to delete your account.
There is some information that we do retain, such as, but not related to the genetic information.
Right.
But that, such as name, email address,
Oh.
and other.
So even if you delete the account, you retain their name, you retain their email address, you retain their date of birth, you retain their sex, and you retain their genetic information, even if they choose to delete your account. So in other words, don't talk to your suit behind you, talk to me. He's not testifying, you are. You do not allow consumers actually to delete permanently their data. And when you said a minute ago to Senator Moody, at all times consumers have complete control of their data, that's just not true, is it? By the terms of your own agreement, that just is not true.
Senator, with all due respect, all of the genetic data is deleted. We are only
With all due respect, what you are telling me is in direct contravention to what your own policy states, even if you choose to delete your account. In fact, what you do is you allow your consumers to delete their account settings, but their data isn't deleted. You still have it. The laboratory still has it. You have their name. You have their date of birth. You have their sex. And now you're going to sell it. Here's my point. It's a pattern. Your consumers actually aren't in control of anything. You are. You control their data. You control their genetic information. Now you're about to sell it. You promise them, we won't ever sell it without your consent, but you're doing it. You promise them we'll allow you to delete it, but you don't. In fact, you've lied to them, have you not?
Senator, we have not. I assure you that we are deleting all of our customers who have requested.
No, you're
it.
not. You're not because your policies say they're not, and you're not deleting
Okay.
it because if you were,
Wow.
your company wouldn't be worth $300 million. No, don't read from what your guy behind you is shoveling talking points to you now. I don't want your talking points. I've read your policies. I've seen what they are, and I tell you what, it's amazing to me you're not getting your socks sewed off by your customers. I hope they will. I hope they will rush to the courthouse, even as we are here today, to sue you into oblivion for lying to them and taking their most personal, identifiable information and selling it for a profit and lying to them and to the American public. Quite frankly, Mr. Salsavage, what you're doing here has all kinds of implications, national security implications, all of it, but nothing is worse than taking the personal, identifiable information of American consumers and keeping it and lying to them about it while you make a huge profit off of it. It's unbelievable to me. It's absolutely unbelievable. This concludes our hearing. I want to thank each of the witnesses for taking the time to share your experience, your expertise, and your perspectives. Written questions can be submitted for the record until Wednesday, June 18th at 5 p.m. I'll ask the witnesses to answer and return questions to the committee within 2 weeks. The hearing is adjourned.
We've seen the whole thing now, and I have a lot to say. Let me start with what Senator Hawley actually did in that room, because it deserves credit. He didn't walk in with vague questions and empty outrage. He walked in with the actual privacy policy, printed and ready to read out loud, and he used it to take apart every talking point that CEO tried to throw at him. That is what congressional oversight is supposed to look like. Now let's talk about the CEO. I'll try to be fair. Running a bankrupt company is not easy. But tough spot or not, you don't get to sit in front of the Senate and tell people their data is under their complete control when your own policy document says otherwise. And when Hawley read that line, even if you choose to delete your account, we will retain your genetic information, the CEO looked over his shoulder for help. That tells you everything. And that moment where Hawley said, "Don't talk to the suit behind you. Talk to me. He's not testifying. You are." That was the moment. Because that is exactly the kind of corporate slipperiness people are sick of. The lawyer feeding lines. The rehearsed non-answers. Hawley wasn't having it, and neither should we. Now let's talk about the actual substance, because this goes beyond one company or one hearing. Genetic data is the most sensitive data that exists. It doesn't just tell people who you are. It tells people who your kids are, who your parents are, what diseases you might get. It is the most intimate data set a human being can generate. And millions of Americans handed it over because they were told it was safe, it was private, and they were in control. And now, because the company is going bankrupt, that promise is up for sale along with everything else. Hawley made the sharpest point of the whole hearing. If 23andMe was truly deleting data when customers asked, the company wouldn't be worth $300 million. The data is the product. It always was. The value isn't in the cheek swab kit. The value is in the 15 million genetic profiles sitting on their servers right now. Profiles of adults, profiles of children, profiles of people who just wanted to find out if they were part Irish. And the deletion issue. I cannot get over this. You click delete. Your account becomes inaccessible. You can't even verify it happened because you're locked out. You get one email. And then buried in their own privacy policy, it says they keep your genetic data, your name, your date of birth, your sex, even after you delete your account. That is not deletion. That is just calling it something else. Some people will say this is just political theater, and Hawley is performing for cameras. I get that cynicism. But here's my answer. Even if it's performance, the facts he presented were real. The privacy policy is real. The Wall Street Journal article is real. The 15 million customers are real. Whether you like Josh Hawley or not, in that room on that day he was right. And the CEO had no credible answer. What this moment shows is what accountability could look like if we demanded it more often. Not vague questions. Not corporate PR. Just a senator holding their own document and saying, this is what you promised, and this is what you're doing, and those two things are not the same. Explain yourself. And he couldn't. So here's where I land. If you have a 23andMe account, go check your settings right now and try to delete your data. Understand what you're actually agreeing to. And let this be a reminder about every single service that holds your personal information. Read the fine print. Because as we just watched, the fine print and the front page are often telling two very different stories. Senator Hawley held the line in that room, and I think that matters. What do you think? Drop it in the comments. And if this opened your eyes even a little, share it because more people need to see this.